Okay, so here I got an armature that's posed out and ready for bulking. So before I start bulking, if you got the limbs, kind of posed where it's kind of in the way, it's okay to, kind of move it out of the way a little bit to make it easier for you to bulk, and you can just kind of bring it back in. So I'll start out by just picking out a small sheet of foil, and I'll just lightly crumble it on one end and stick it through the torso. And I do this so that, all I need is one sheet of foil. And I like keeping the pieces of foil to a minimum if I can. And then just slowly crush it back in towards the torso and slowly, form your shapes and bulk. Backside. So notice that I'm not wrapping on the foil over the edge of the armature, because you already create your width when you create this armature. Right now, we're just creating depth. And if you have too much foil, you can just tear a little bit off, because if you don't need it, you just tear some off. And I got my core. Make sure you look at your reference to make sure that you're not over bulking. Another little piece of foil that I'm going to crumble up to create like a little skull. That I will then kind of stick into the armature here. And I got my little skull. Again, make sure it's not too big. You just want a little more surface area for your clay to adhere to. So, okay. So the next step is we're gonna create some foil strips to bulk up the limbs. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. So for that, you want to rip off a long sheet of foil. So long it's out of the camera, but it's just something where you're comfortable with. You're going to fold that in half. The open ends, the two ends, you're going to fold 1/3 of the way. And then you're going to fold the other third over that. So you want to hide the open ends of the foil away. You're going to take this and you're going to fold this in half. And you're going to fold it in half one more time. And that should give you about a 1/2 inch wide strip of foil. So take your time and fold it cleanly. If your strip of foil is too wide, it's going to be difficult to wrap your armature later. Okay, so got my strip of foil there, and I'm gonna wrap the arms with this foil. So you're gonna put the foil strip roughly halfway on the chest here, and you're gonna go back and across, and then the back will cross over like this. So from the back, you'll see it's crisscrossed, okay? And one side will go down one arm, the other will go down the other. So when you do this, just take your time. As you wrap, you want to kind of crush the foil down after each wrap. So, if I got to turn the foil, it's going to cause foil to pop out. I'm just going to crush it back in, okay, and then fold over. So just take your time while you're doing this. So it's fold and crush. And when you get to a bent limb, again, you're going to want to turn the foil and then just kind of crush that in. So if this pops out on this side, I'm going to crush that back in, but then that'll allow me to create this turn, okay, and continue fold wrapping. So as I get towards the wrist, I want the wrist to be thinner. So I'm gonna turn this foil strip more diagonally, okay, crush that excess off, and now it'll just be a thin layer. And the excess I won't need, I'm gonna just tear off. Okay, so that's one arm, and now I'm gonna wrap the other side. And then I'm going to turn it so that it's one layer. We'll crush this back in. Okay, so that's the arms are wrapped. And now I'm going to do another strip of foil for the legs. Okay, so for the legs, I'm going to take another strip of foil. This one's going to be a little bit longer. I'm going to do the same thing and kind of start where the pelvis is and wrap it around. Wrap it around. So again, you're going to see a crisscross in the back right here. And one's going to go down one leg, the other will go down the other side. I'm going to widen out the legs so that it's a little easier to wrap, and I'll bring it back once I'm ready. So the legs, since the thighs are thicker, I'm gonna keep the foil. I'm gonna layer the winds of the foil so that it gets a little thicker up here. But you still want to do the same thing where you're kind of crushing it in as you go. Take your time. You want the foil to be, fairly sturdy and you don't want it to be moving around. So it should be pretty tight when you're wrapping this. Then as I get lower, I'm gonna angle the foil more this way so that it doesn't overlap as much, and get it to go thinner for the ankles. Okay. Excess that I don't need, I'll tear off. And now down to the other side. One thing you don't want to do is like, yank on these foil because it will tear. So you just kind of want to slowly with your fingers just roll the foil as you wrap and crush. So kind of roll, crush, roll, crush. And again, I'm overlapping it more on the thigh because I want it to be thicker up here. So roll, crush, roll, crush. As I get towards the bottom of the leg, I'm going to turn it, push that back, and then it'll be one layer. So, the foil should be fairly stable. I mean, if you got a straight wire, it might want to move a little, but once we finish, it shouldn't move at all. Okay, so once you're happy with the foiling, we're gonna tie everything together with the 24 gauge wire. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna start off at the neck area. So I'm gonna stick this end underneath some foil so it doesn't, I don't get poked. And then I'm gonna wrap that around the neck 3 times. Okay, that'll secure it. And at this point, you can go to any limb you want. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off with the head since I'm over here. So I'm gonna wrap it around a couple times. Keep it tight, keep it snug. Take your time. Okay, that's it for the head. And that's not gonna go anywhere now. So it's pretty secure. I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna start on this arm. So one thing you want to keep in mind is whichever way you wrap the foil, you want to continue that same direction with the wire. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap around this foil. If for whatever reason your foil's a little loose, just make sure make sure it's tight so you can just kind of turn it and hold it while you wrap this. And make sure this thin wire is wrapped pretty snugly. Okay, once you get down to the end, you're gonna go back up and crisscross those wires. And this is one continuous wire to wrap the entire armature, okay? So after this arm's done, I'm gonna go ahead and have it come over to this side. Make sure I'm going the same direction as the wrap, okay? And wind my way down. Okay, and then once I get down, I'm gonna wind it back up, just crossing the wires. So this will Serves two purposes. One, it helps to kind of hold everything together, and also it creates tooth for the clay to hold on to. So, okay, so I'm done with the arms. I'm gonna kind of wind my way down the body. I don't need a whole lot, but I do want to make sure that the wire is snug. So, okay, so I'm gonna go down to this leg, start winding down this leg. Back up. And to the other side. Again, if I go this way, I'm going the opposite way. So I gotta go under, and so I can go this way to follow the flow of that wrap. Work my way all the way up. And then I'm gonna go around the body a few times as I wind my way back up. And then I'm gonna end off at the neck again. I'm gonna wind it around a few times, and that should hold it in. And I'm gonna cut the wire and tuck away that end so I don't poke myself later. Okay, and then, your armature is gonna get a little tweaked as you're, doing all this process. So it's okay. You just kind of, move it back to where it needs to be. All right, so now this is ready to be put onto a base, and it's pretty much ready for clay.